So this is Mary Collins from Hakx Media and Radio X, and I'm back with Romain Charles, our engineer from the Mars mission, 520 days in his own little lockdown, but for a good cause, which will help our cause right now, because we are all experiencing what it's like to be on lockdown, in isolation, staying home, quote unquote, thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's lovely to have you back. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
We were talking about participants and their ability to survive because of personalities, and whether the personalities were different or the same. The ability to be creative and understanding towards each other made a big difference. But what was it like space-wise? I mean, how big of a space were you guys living in for a year and a half?
So we were living in, you have to imagine 3 big metallic cylinders, sealed cylinders with no windows. The biggest one was a storage module, and it was filled with shelves with all the food, all the clothes, all the devices for the mission. The second one was the living module, the most important for us, and it was roughly the size of a bus. And inside this living module, we had 6 rooms, 1 bathroom, 1 control room, 1 kitchen, and 1 living room. And the third one, the smallest one, was the medical module, which was also our work module, where we would do our experiments. And that's where we lived for a year and a half.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And so everything you said was sealed. So there was no fresh air. It was just through ventilator or, like air systems.
Right. Yes. And we even had a small overpressure so that if there was any leak anywhere, the air from the inside would go outside and nothing from the outside would come in.
Wow. I wouldn't even ask about how awkward that is if someone eats too many beans. But anyway, so, okay. So when it comes to, we were saying that, okay, you were saying there wasn't actually any tension, or maybe there was tension, but there was no conflict between you and the other participants. Do you think that had something to do with your schedules, with like having jobs and assignments to do on a regular basis?
I think it helps. At least for me, it really helps to have a schedule and, more importantly, a routine. We had our work, that was our schedule. So every week we'd receive the work for the next week. And all of us had personal activities that we planned for ourselves that would fill up this free time, these 8 hours of free time that we had. And it really gave us enough to do. And it was, at least for me, coming from an advice that I had received from a colleague who was a former submariner. When I knew that I was selected, I went to him directly saying, okay, you know what it is to be in a submarine. What do you have any tips for me? And one of them was stay busy. Always have something to do. Plan many things for yourself, even if it's just reading a book or watching a video, but plan a lot so that you don't have the time to just sit and think, because that's when it becomes harder. And so that's what I did. I was finishing every day with the idea that, okay, I didn't do that and that, so okay, tomorrow I have to work harder and get the day through, and it helped to go through, because I was living in the present, 1 day plus 1 day plus 1 day. In the end, it made 520 days.
Okay, so having some sort of schedule would be one of your top hacks.
Yes, okay. Some routine. However, there is a danger here, is that when you have this schedule and this routine that you do, after some time, every day is like the previous one. And you end up in some kind of routine which brings monotony and can bring more boredom, and it becomes hard. It's harder to find energy to do your things. So it's also important to be creative and break this monotony by making a day a different one. It can be small things, but just making it different brings you back some energy and helps you go through.
Okay. So are there any things that you would recommend that are definitely part of a schedule, like exercise? Or do you think a lazy day and then a day exercising and then a day with how does that work?
Well, it's personal in a way. In Mars 100, for me, I was spending a lot of time communicating without the outside, staying in touch with the loved ones was very important for me. And so that was a big part of my free time. But I also had some lessons to improve my Russians. I was playing a bit of guitar, little things like that. I would plan a certain amount of hours per week that I wanted to do it. And I would, tap myself in the back when I had done what I had expected from myself. But some of the guys had a very different way of spending those times. It was, for some of them, mainly reading technical books. They were spending a lot of time reading those huge volumes. So it depends on the person. What is important is more finding a routine that works for you, that helps you go through those days, that keeps you busy, and that you can do in confinement.
Okay, perfect. So listeners and those who are going to watch this video of fantastic hacks from Romain, which is have a schedule, but don't be too strict with yourself. Have some flexibility, shake it up a little bit, and don't get too upset if other family members or people in your household aren't following what you think is the best routine. We're very stressed at the minute because maybe we think that person could fix, there's a big meme going around about the DIY joke, with partners.
Yes.
Like, oh, you were promising to build a shelf, buddy. Now's your chance. So, but that's the thing, right? You can't dictate what other people should be doing, and it only causes more stress. So take the time to make your own little schedule. And like you said, Romain, pat yourself on the back if you get through some of the difficult stuff that you thought, you couldn't. And then reward yourself with the, the food, maybe not the food binge. With
just some free time, something you enjoy.
Some free time. Right, exactly. With some free time. That's brilliant. Thank you so much for those hacks. We will continue with wonderful Romain Charles from Mars Mission 500. Thank you so much, Romain.
You're welcome.